Welcome, everybody. We're going to be talking about how you can maximize your Q4 success, have the most sales, and make this the best possible year. Because as we are doing this live, we are less than a week away from the actual start of Q4, which is technically October 1st, but the busy season is more on the back half of Q4. But we're going to help you make this the best year yet with a lot of the strategies you need to make this the best year yet. So my name is Kevin Sanderson. I'm the marketing and partnerships guy here at My Amazon Guy. What you're going to learn today is some mistakes to avoid and some strategies that are going to help you along the way. Talk a little bit about your host, Mr. Noah Wickham, our VP of Sales and Marketing.
Absolutely. My name is Noah Wickham. I am our VP of Sales and Marketing here at My Amazon Guy. Excited to be here and excited to just share some knowledge with everybody.
Awesome. Well, why don't we go ahead and get into it? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to let you take over from here.
Fantastic. All right. So first and foremost, one of the biggest things for Q4 that I tend to tell everyone, and it's one of the things that we actually do internally here at My Amazon Guy, and I work with our operations team to make sure of, is that we start planning for Q4 usually in August, which is last month at this point. I mean, we're pretty much almost into Q4, right? We are very, very close at this point to hitting Q4 and what that looks like. And Q4 is a bumpy, bumpy ride. Q4, couple of different major things within Q4. We have Prime Big Deal Days, right? Which this year is October 7th and 8th. We have Black Friday, which Amazon has no longer created Black Friday. They create Black Holiday Week, I guess. And instead, they do, I believe last year was 8 days. The year before that was 5. So I'm expecting probably 10 this year, knowing Amazon, where essentially they're going to do just a long sales cycle of Black Friday deals. And then they follow that up with Cyber Monday that follows through for the entire week thereafter. So there is a very big chunk of about a 2.5 week window of huge sales in November, especially. But then we're leading up to Christmas. And Christmas is all about, as Kevin was talking about earlier, everything from just giftable items to you never know if your product is something that somebody out there is going to give as a gift to someone. For reference, last year, my brother gifted me a shoe cleaning kit, a like leather shoe cleaning kit. That was what him and his fiance gave me for Christmas. I don't own a single pair of leather shoes, mind
It's a
you, but I
very
went out and
Father's
bought
Day
some.
type gift.
Yeah, it was something that they just thought I would like. And, to be honest, I used it once. So there we go. And the point that I have behind saying that is that it does not matter what product you sell. I am a big proponent and believer in this idea that pretty much every single product on Amazon has some form of seasonality. There's not a single product on Amazon that does not have just any kind of seasonality whatsoever. Some people argue with me. I've challenged people. I challenge all of you guys in the chat as well. Feel free to try and drop a product into the chat right now that doesn't have seasonality of some kind. And if you can somehow convince me it doesn't have seasonality, we'll give you, I don't know, another course or something. Maybe we'll up the stakes or something and give like a SOP library. Who knows?
Oh, wow. That's
Maybe. We'll see.
$2,500
We'll see.
value.
But
You can go buy it
yeah, there
right
we
now
go.
for 2,500 if you want to on our website.
There you go. And so, I see one right there. Somebody says toilet paper. I usually hear things like toilet paper, toothbrush, garbage bags, all of which I have actually disproven multiple times over. So things like toilet paper, you actually see a pretty large uptick in toilet paper going into the summer season because a lot of people like to stock on toilet paper for things like camping. So
Hmm.
that's wrong. Toothpaste, as well, is one that a lot of times people actually stock at the very beginning of the year. It sees an uptick in January sales. So again, I I love this leather shoe cleaning kits. Anthony, that's quite funny, I will say. Anthony, you get two mag school courses today because that's if you can make me laugh, I'll usually give things. So yeah, I'm not seeing any others. I see desk, sex toys. It's an interesting one. I can almost promise you that's a Q4 one right there. Vitamins, that's very much as we talked about at the beginning. Vitamin supplements, that's like a Q1 type of seasonality. So all of that. Hairbrushes, again, still probably have a Q4 uptick. We actually have two
Great stocking stuffer.
exactly. So that's the type of thing where every single product has some kind of seasonality. I see automotive tools. That is a kind of late Q1, early Q2 thing. People love to work on their cars during the summer, hate working on their cars during the winter, but it still sees an uptick during Q4 a little bit just because it's also a great giftable item for that
Yep.
person in your life who loves working on their cars. So
Or they
I
just want to buy it because it's like shoe cleaning kit.
there we go. I still haven't seen a single one in this chat here of anybody who's kind of stumped me. But that being said, I will leave it open for anyone who wants to try and continue guessing throughout this entire thing. If I see one that really stumps me into what it could potentially not have a seasonality towards, you'll be the winner of the SOP. But again, actually, you know what? Oscar, coffin. I know for a fact that that actually has Q1 seasonality because we have a client that sells coffins on Amazon. And
I didn't even know you could buy coffins on Amazon.
you can.
Interesting.
You can buy coffins on Amazon, and people love to plan funerals during the first part of the year for some reason. Not sure what that really is and why
What
that
what,
is.
what about baby gates though? The one that's on there. That's an interesting one because that's the
So
opposite end of coffins.
yeah, so baby gates, I'm almost positive should have seasonality just from the simple aspect of more babies are born in the springtime and also towards Q4. And so you're going to instantly just have seasonality with that. I mean, babies are born in chunks throughout the year, right? So if you look at birth rates, there you go. That's your seasonality for baby gates. Auto replacement parts, I think I already answered that one. Coffee. Coffee is actually, yes, similar, a harder one, but people actually drink more coffee in the wintertime. So Q4 and Q1 because it's darker outside. I live in Michigan. I don't drink nearly as much caffeine and as much coffee like during time when it's, bright at 6 a.m. comparatively to when I wake up and it's still dark until 9:30 in the morning. So let's see. Dog treats essential all year. Agree, except there's a pet day in the spring, and that creates seasonality around things like dog treats. And
Well, and we also give our dog Christmas presents every year,
I have not
which
seen one
usually is
yet.
treats.
I have not seen one yet. So, all that being said, you guys can keep guessing, like I said, throughout this. We'll come back to that every so often, and I'll see if anybody can stump me. Kevin will keep an eye on it, and he'll call out all of the interesting ones. But while we're doing that, let's kind of talk a little bit about the strategy in Q4. So, looking at Q4, we were kind of just talking about this Prime Big Deal Days. That's the next big thing that's coming up. It's actually coming up in 2 weeks, not even like a week and a half at this point in time. If you have not prepped for Prime Big Deal Days, you're already behind. Now, there's two factors for Prime Big Deal Days that I want everyone to always think about. The first one being Prime exclusive discounts, which I do encourage at this point in time, Prime exclusive discounts for any type of Prime Day. There is nowadays an added cost to doing Prime exclusive discounts. It's very nominal. It's $100, not bad. So I will encourage people to sign up for Prime exclusive discounts. That will also get you onto this holiday shop. And the holiday shop is interesting because this stays up from now all the way through December. And so the holiday shop is just a constant thing that people are looking at. Amazon promotes it directly on their front page. You can see the Prime Big Deal Days, October 7th and 8th. So they are essentially now doing the early deals, but you can still essentially get your product set in here at some point in time. So absolutely something I encourage people to do is Prime Big Deal Days. Now, a couple of factors when we are looking at Prime Big Deal Days. Why is Prime Big Deal Days actually important as far as an overall Q4 strategy outside of just another Prime Day to drive sales? The biggest reason is because similar to Prime Day, a lot of people see a giant uptick in overall sales volume during Prime Day. Prime Big Deal Days, you do not see as much of an uptick as you do during July Prime Day. But what you do see is you see enough of an uptick that is the start, so to speak, of the holiday sales resurgence, as I like to call it. And it's basically when people start doing all of their Christmas shopping, Hanukkah shopping, all of the things are on sale and it's the end of the year and I got my bonus coming in a couple of months. And then on top of that, it is a factor of allowing you to essentially get a big sales boost at the very beginning of Q4. This is critical because it allows you to essentially get a giant ranking boost for both your keywords and your overall selling rank on your product, which can lead you into a much better position for the remainder of Q4. And so, Prime Big Deal Days is something that I would not skimp on. If you are like me and you start planning out your quarterly, overall sales and your pricing and what you were going to be looking at from a sales perspective, as well as profitability, I would not skimp on Prime Big Deal days. And I always factor that in, again, back in August when I start doing my inventory planning, for the simple factor of I want to make sure to utilize those 2, 3 days as much as possible when it comes to trying to drive those sales volume. Now, with that being said, there's kind of a secondary aspect that I think I heard pretty much every single person mention so far within this, and that was inventory planning and optimizing your inventory for the holidays. Amazon likes to talk about Amazon Outlet during the holidays. I personally think Amazon Outlet is awful. I have tried it in the past. I have used it myself. I have had our clients use it. Amazon Outlet is basically a way for Chinese sellers to just offload a bunch of product at $2. And nowadays, instead of Amazon Outlet, they just use Amazon Haul instead. And so, Amazon Outlet is not great. What is great, however, is optimizing inventory. That's the key that I want to take away from Amazon essentially saying that. And so, a lot of you probably wondering, you look at Amazon Outlet and you're like, oh, what can I do? Well, if you're somebody who also has a seasonality product for Halloween, which I haven't heard anyone say anything about Halloween type products, you can utilize the Halloween shop. And one of the cool things about Halloween items on Amazon, if you are somebody who sells a Halloween item, feel free to open it up in the chat. Would love to know what you sell. Halloween items are one of those that are going to see a giant boost during Prime Big Deal days during the Halloween season. But then secondarily, they're going to essentially have a drop off not in November, but actually December. And it's simply because people actually still love buying Halloween stuff. I'm a huge Halloween guy. I don't know if you guys can see my little guy back there, but I have a little Halloween thing back there. I don't have any of my other Halloween stuff around. Oh, there we go. I got my little, I got my little cat over here as well. So
Mhm.
I'm a big Halloween guy myself. I don't like buying Halloween decorations or anything right now. I find it to be more expensive. But if you're somebody who sells Halloween items, you're going to want to optimize for essentially not just Halloween, but your inventory planning for post Halloween because people love to get that sale. Again, that's where things such as like Amazon Outlet can come in handy at the end of the day. So, all of that being said, how do you understand your inventory? I heard a bunch of people in the chat here talk about they're already planning their inventory. And again, I want to be very critical. If you have not started your inventory planning for Q4 at this point in time, you're behind the curve. I like sending in inventory about right now for Q4 at the end of the day. If you haven't done that already, you're probably behind the curve, but you're also probably wondering, how do I know how much inventory to send in? How do I know if I'm going to have enough inventory? Great thing here, business reports. So, business reports are one of the easier ways, in my opinion, to understand what we're actually going to be looking at from a need percentage across the board. The reason for this is that we essentially can look at a couple of things. So, you can see here, we're looking at basically September 25th, 2024, all the way to September 25th, 2025, right? And the purpose for that is that we are looking from a weekly basis and trying to see essentially what is our total unit amount for a certain period of time. And we can even get this a little bit more granular here just to make things simpler for this example. We'll look at this. So in Q4 of last year, we hit on this account 18,331 units. So if you're somebody who is planning for Q4 of this year, do we think that it's going to make sense to just order about 19,000 units? Or should we think, how much should I really order? What do you think, Kevin? Order 19,000 units or and call it good? Or what would you do in this situation?
I personally like to have a buffer going into it because ideally I'm growing and I don't want to give up sales. And then also I like to think about like, okay, last year, did I run out? Was I in fulfillment center transfer? And I
Hmm.
maybe missed some sales opportunities last year that are hiding in those numbers.
Bingo. Kevin said the primary thing. You hope that you're growing. And this is a key mistake I see so many sellers essentially make when they are trying to forecast for inventory. And honestly, Amazon's inventory forecasting blows, in my opinion. It's not great because it doesn't take into account two key things. The first one being, what is the growth that you have had? And so you guys saw, for instance, that I was initially, and I'll go back here, going through September 25th this year. And the purpose of that is to see how are we growing, right? What are we up from a percentage wise? And for this account in particular, year to date, we're actually up roughly 27%, right? And so if we're up 27% year to date, we can have a general assumption that we're going to likely be up that same percentage around Q4 as well, right? And so taking that 18,000 that we had or 19,000 that we had units wise, I would not order 19,000 units. Even if I wanted to just have a buffer of some kind, I would still order roughly 25% more for what I am looking at from my overall sales growth from the past year. Now, the secondary thing that people forget to take into account is how much was I spending on ads last year versus how much am I spending on ads this year as well? And how much am I planning on spending on ads? When your sales grow, you tend to spend more on advertising. You also have more cash flow to be able to dump into things such as promotions, be able to essentially have a little bit better profitability by chance, and have a better sales perspective. So the secondary aspect, we're still pending on this. I was hoping that this report would be done. I ran it early, hoping that it would be done. Oh, it is done. Fantastic. So this is a sponsored product report. And I pulled this sponsored product report. Here we go. And so what I tend to do for this as well is I like to pull the sponsored product report from last year. So this is Q4 of last year. Essentially, well, it's part of Q4. It's the holiday selling season from November 1st all the way to December 31st for the account. And the purpose of pulling this is essentially to utilize a report like this to understand how much did I sell in my advertising last year? How much did I spend on my ads last year? What was my ACOS last year, right? That is a big thing to understand. I mean, if we're looking at an account like this, right, and we just look at it on average, right? Our average across the board last year, as far as ACOS, and that's including a bunch of 0%. So, grain of salt here, I'm not doing this as a data standard, was 23%, right? Is our average ACOS higher or lower this year, right? If we are lower overall, but we did well last year, we know that we can probably increase even more so than what we're doing already. So I would take a report like this, I would compare it directly to a current report. So if I come back here, and an easy way to do this for anyone who doesn't know how to do reports like this would be essentially to come in, you can do sponsored products. I like to do a campaign report. And a lot of people think that they see this whole like today, yesterday, week to date, month to date, all that stuff last month. And this is like what they can do. It's not. You actually can just pull as much data as you want from a 60-day period at any point of 60 days. And so essentially that's what I would do here as well. Essentially pull what has been my average over the last 60 days for my account. How much am I spending? What did I spend during Prime Big Deal days as well to understand how much can I spend and what am I expecting to. All of these are things that I'm going to do to essentially have a first step prep. The reason for that is that you're essentially going to be looking what is my overall that I'm hoping to have a growth value. So again, this account that we were just looking at, it's grown 25% so far this year comparatively to last. It's great growth, honestly, for an account that's doing, over seven figures. That's fantastic. However, at the end of the day, Q4, if it's a primary selling season for you as well, you're going to see even more growth during that period. So that buffer that Kevin was talking about, I tend to lean towards having whatever your growth percentage is as the top line plus 10% is what I'm looking at. So usually that's within the realm of what we're going to be looking at, especially if your ACOS and your overall profitability is higher this year than it was last year, which I would hope it would be if you continued growing, which allows you to essentially have a higher overall sales volume and capacity. So these are kind of the first preliminary steps I'm going to take. I'm going to stop there real quick. Kevin, you got anything to add? Anybody have any questions? Chat, feel free to throw them in as well as we're kind of going through this. Still haven't seen any products either that have
Yeah, it looks
shipped
like
yet.
Seth was very passionate about batteries, dropped it in both the Q&A and the chats. But I would argue batteries, all those toys, Batteries not included. I know stuff is
It's a
included with batteries
stocking
more than
stuffer.
it's a
People
stocking stuff.
also
Exactly. All
need
those
it for all
toys.
of their
Yep.
new electronics. Yeah, batteries, absolutely. Actually, batteries as well, I think would be like hugely Q4, honestly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All those gifts, all those things kids need in they need batteries for.
On the aspect, by the way, of batteries,
Yeah.
that I do think is kind of interesting and funny. And I just wanted to kind of show this just so people know that I'm like very serious about this, right? This aspect of I'm taking Amazon AAA batteries, right? And you can even just look at this from like the pricing will tell you uh, whatnot because Amazon, whenever they have a high selling season, will always raise their pricing. And if
Mm.
you happen to notice something here, what is the time of year in which Amazon tends to raise the price on their product?
December.
Yeah, November, December, every year, Amazon raises the
Mm.
price on their batteries. I wonder why. Could it potentially be
Supply
because
and demand.
So it was a very good guess, though, Seth. I like that one. It's very, those type products, those odd commodity type products are hard, right? And especially for anyone. And I think a lot of the people in the chat, right? A big thing, if you sell a very odd commodity type product that does have fairly decent sales volume throughout the year, I want to make it known Q4 can still be a high sales volume time for you because it just has more sellers on the or customers on the
hmm
platform as a whole and more money is spent on the platform. And so even if at the end of the day you're fairly consistent all year round with your sales, you should still see some kind of bump and you should be planning from an inventory perspective. We have clients as well who, again, their seasonal and their selling time of the year is, let's say, May to August, right? Very much a summertime aspect. And even if you are someone who sells a summertime product, I very much encourage you to still have stock and inventory during the Q4 selling period because people love to just gift random stuff at the end of the day, right? Who knows? I don't know if you sell a bathing suit. You know how many people from like myself from Michigan go on vacation to some very warm and sunny place in January, February, and March that buy all of their stuff in November and December? It's type thing where I like to make it known. Yes, every product has seasonality. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try and still get more sales during the off season, such as Q4, when it's such a huge selling period in time for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, it is a big season. And somebody also put in Advil and Tylenol. I would wonder if all those holiday parties and all
I wonder if Tylenol is having a decrease or an increase in sales right now.
right. Yeah, I would imagine around the holidays that there's a correlation with I'm imagining liquor stores have a bump in sales, and there's probably when that happens, there's probably also a correlation with headache medicine. Um,
hmm
so just food for thought. I don't have a chart to prove that, but I would intuitively believe that's the case. And it also sometimes makes a stocking stuffer, having received those kind of dad gifts as stocking stuffers. But yeah, so inventory is important, and that demand is there, so we might as well figure out ways to harvest it.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So there's only one real aspect I wanted to kind of touch on lastly, and I think it's this aspect before diving into like one or two other things, but um it's this aspect that a lot of people I think have a hard time with during Q4, and it's basically a what do I discount my product, right? People have a really hard time with this any time of the year. People don't know, should I do dynamic pricing? Should I do, some kind of, prime exclusive discount? Should I do a brand tailored promotion? Should I do this? Should I do that? And the answer is yes. Q4 is very hard for pricing for a lot of reasons. And the primary one is because you pretty much have, prime big deal days, which I will give Amazon credit where credit is due. For once, they actually made Prime Big Deal Days not directly 30 days before their Black Friday event, which in the past, it was a problem because people would do discounts of some kind during Prime Big Deal Days, and then they couldn't do that same discount or a bigger one during Black Friday, which made a huge stink because Amazon's average and was selling prices. So, what kind of promotions and whatnot do I recommend at the end of the day when we are looking at things such as Black Fridays, Prime Big Deal Days, the holiday selling season? Well, couple. So let's dig into it. So the very first one that I think we already obviously have touched a million times here would be the uh, Prime exclusive discounts. So Prime exclusive discounts is the number one during the Prime Big Deal Days. That's just the biggest one that I am always going to encourage people to do. I always want to make sure that people are doing them and running them in some capacity, just from the aspect of essentially John Aspinall calling me because, of course, he is. Um, and so essentially, it's this idea that during Prime Big Deal Days, it's a Prime Day. It is meant for Prime buyers, is meant for Prime sellers. However, Black Friday, it's very different. I don't actually encourage doing things like Prime exclusive discount necessarily for Black Friday. I instead would do Prime exclusive discount separately outside of Black Friday. So for Black Friday, I'm actually going to typically recommend people to do things such as the lightning deals. I'm going to recommend that they do coupons as primary promotions. Now, a big aspect within this as well, a lot of people don't know, and this is kind of a little bit of a secret sauce type of thing that I have a SOP for that we actually probably will release sometime here to the general public in the near future, I should say. Yeah, getting a little saucy with it. A lot of people may have seen and heard about one secret advertising hack, but you can actually pair now essentially certain types of promotions alongside certain kinds of advertising. And for Black Friday this year, I have a special one that we're going to be essentially doing across the board, and that would be specifically audiences. So when you have something such as Prime Big Deal Days, and I keep talking about this about how important this selling event is because it is going to set the groundwork for your Q4. And it sets that groundwork not just from the aspect of boosting your sales, not from the aspect of boosting your ranking, not from the aspect of essentially being the ground floor for the rest of Q4, but it also sets up one specific thing, and that is audiences. Audiences are a very, very crucial thing that people need to start understanding when it comes to Amazon now. And the good part about having a huge selling day just about a month and a half prior to something like Black Friday is that that gets in all of the people who likely are also going to be purchasing on Black Friday because they are what we would, I guess, refer to as deal shoppers, right? And those deal shoppers during that Prime days are going to be looking there. John Aspinall calling me again. Guy doesn't leave me alone. And essentially during this, so we now are going to set ourselves up during the Prime Big Deal Days to have specific audiences and have people dug into those audiences for Black Friday. And one of the very cool things here as well is that every single seller about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, let's say, got access to Amazon Marketing Cloud. Now, Amazon Marketing Cloud is all for audience targeting. Now, there are two different types of audience targeting you can do with inside campaigns now for bid adjustments. The first one being that you can do it based off of an Amazon built one. So you can look, there are three specific kinds here. There is purchased brands product, there is clicked or added brands product to cart, and then there's high interest based shopping on history. Now, the one that is going to be, in my opinion, most crucial for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, based off of the Prime Big Deal Days, is going to be both this high interest based on shopping history, as well as the clicked or added brands product to their cart. These are going to be essential to you during Black Friday when you are setting up your campaigns and your targeting. And the reason is that you're essentially going to hopefully build these campaigns basically, or these audiences during the Prime Big Deal Days and the month and a half leading up to Black Friday. This will allow you to really segment and focus your advertising in Q4 and during Black Friday and that holiday season towards people that are likely to already be looking at your product. They're waiting around to buy at a specific time, more than likely during that Black Friday season. I know myself, I buy pretty much every single present, gift, everything on during the Amazon's Black Friday week. And I think that will be the same and ring true for pretty much everyone else as well. Now, if you want to get a step even further, you can do this based off of things such as like AMC, right? So AMC will have like AMC click add no purchase, and no purchase all license. So you can create your own audience groups with inside Amazon Marketing Cloud. If you don't know how to utilize Amazon Marketing Cloud right now, what I would encourage you to do is go to the myamazonguy.com or My Amazon Guy YouTube channel, and we'll have a video coming out on how to create audience groups via Amazon Marketing Cloud here within the next week. So go and subscribe over there for that video. But audience targeting is going to be the giant differentiator this year during Q4. And it's because up until this year, it was a very limited amount of people who had audience targeting. I've gotten to use it once last year on one account. Obviously, used it with Amazon Marketing Cloud, but now we actually have Amazon's own audience targeting as well. And so, utilizing the audience targeting strategies during Q4, especially the Black Friday season, is going to give you a major leg up comparatively to a lot of other people because you can target only people you are likely to convert on, right? The more conversions and the higher our conversion rate, the more often Amazon wants to show our product and get our product in front of more and more people as well. So it's a very, very important strategy that I encourage every single person to set up specific campaigns for the Black Friday season around bid adjustments having to do with audience groups specifically.
Definitely audience targeting is a good one because you're not just bidding on the intent based on their keywords. You're now bidding on intent based on their keywords, essentially, but also layering in, are they part of an affinity group, essentially? Like, would they be someone who would want to buy this product based on their history? Amazon has their history.
Amazon has their history and has the data. And that's the really crucial and the really big thing at the end of the day is that like until this year, this is like the very first year, realistically, I should say, that every single seller has this ability. Hasn't been a thing in the past, right? They released audiences earlier this year, so you have Amazon audiences. They have the Amazon Marketing Cloud. You're going into Q4 with that, and it's going to be a huge, huge thing. And it's something that I would absolutely start to create your Amazon Marketing Cloud audience groups and targeting right now, like today, tomorrow, so that you have that prepped for those Prime Big Deal days. You start to filter in more and more people with that, and people who have clicked your ads can retarget those people come again because people who shop during Prime Big Deal days are they're deal shoppers, right? They're not necessarily all going to be normal shoppers at the end of the day. So trying
Mhm.
to target those people specifically, you can create that audience group that you then can just target again during Black Friday, target them during Cyber Monday. Oh, next year you're a pet selling product, right? Target them during Amazon's Pet Day, right? Or Amazon Prime, Spring Prime Day, right? These are all things that essentially Q4 is a great time, yes, to grow sales and grow
Mhm.
overall, but it's also a time to gain more data, right? Because you have more customers on the platform, there's more money being spent. You can test some things out and essentially still be getting revenue in while making those tests and doing things like this, where you're creating those audience groups that you're going to be able to utilize year after year after year, which is actually one of the more impactful parts of something like Amazon Marketing Cloud being available to everyone now.
Yeah, that's super impactful. Hannah is dying on the hill of Baby Gates being a non Q4 product, that it's non-seasonal. According to her, the data says
Sales
otherwise.
data says otherwise. I need to prove my point to Hannah. So, let's do this real quick as an experiment, everybody, and then we'll get into a little bit of Q&A time. Uh, so, I pulled up a couple of different baby gates. I wanted to get a good variety, good mix. Something I'd like everyone to draw their attention to is roughly April, May of every single year within this chart. You'll notice here,
Mm.
this one, giant drop, middle of April, about May time, right? So we're in May at this point. Huge drop in overall rank. I wonder if that could have to do with sales happening. Another one, a huge drop in ranking. Interesting. And then we come over here. Oh, another one where it's dropping in ranking in May. Very interesting. Yet another one where it's dropping in ranking in May. Another one where it's dropping in ranking in May. Another one where it's dropping in ranking in May. So I was curious, why might this happen? Hannah, tariffs. Can't blame tariffs for this one, Hannah, unfortunately. I
Yeah,
was wondering.
everybody in every product category pretty much had that.
So Hannah had said, right, at the end of the day, that there was potential where babies don't, people aren't buying this when babies are born. And I'm like, yeah, it's actually, she's probably right. So what month of the year are babies most likely born in? September. So August and October are also very common. And then I got to thinking, okay, so when do babies start to crawl? 6 to 10 months thereafter. So what is about 10 months after August through October, if not April and May? So I hate to be that guy, Hannah, but the data doesn't lie at the end of the day for a multi approach here. So it's a good shot, but there is, in fact, seasonality for baby gates. And that would be late or early, I guess, Q2, late Q1 for you. So with that, let's hop into some Q&A, I guess.
How do you target an audience on Amazon if you don't have access to their email address and you can't reach out to them anyway?
Uh, how do you? Sorry, what is that?
That's a very that's kind of an apples and oranges. It's a good question, but I would say it's an apples and
Ah,
oranges question because you got to think like one of the strategies with Facebook ads is if you have their, contact information, you upload that into Facebook, it creates a custom audience, and then you go after that. We're talking about Amazon doesn't quite give you as much granularity with that.
so yeah, I guess we can kind of dig into that a little bit of like what audiences are on Amazon. So Amazon actually is a bit annoying with how they do audiences. And the reason for that is that they group audiences into kind of four primary sectors here. So I'll pull this up for you real quick. So the first one being vanity, that they essentially do awareness. So they don't actually give you audience data like you would anything else, right? Even if we end up doing something like AMC, right? Where if we're doing AMC, like you don't get that, right? So even with these, you don't actually get that. Amazon keeps all that customer data to themselves. You just get to know that the person is in said audience group. And so the easiest way to look at that is something like this, where we can look at like awareness. So like, where do people fall into this? Well, we have things such as like they added it to their cart, but they dropped off. They purchased it. So we have like the ICAP funnel. Essentially, we can see that from like an audience targeting, right? We can see our considerations within that as well. But these four are kind of the main audiences that Amazon goes after at the end of the day when they're looking at things. You can also see this easily from things like brand tailored promotions, where you can create a brand tailored promotion within basically four different types: new customer acquisition, customer retention, re-engagement, and cross-sell. And if we just kind of go into one of these at the end of the day, we have these audience groups. So you'll see this where it's brand card banners, high potential new customers, high intent customers, and the audience sizing. So it's very different than like a meta, for instance, as Kevin was saying, where you can actually upload a lot of that data and whatnot. So Amazon doesn't give you who these people are. You don't get to ever know that information, unfortunately. But what you do get is to know how many people are in each one of these sections. Same thing happens with AMC data and that advertising data, where you can kind of see what is this audience segmentation I'm actually going after.
How does audience ad strategy relate to using coupons, lightning deals mentioned earlier for Black Friday?
Two different ways. So you could theoretically double up on some of these, right? So if you're doing a specific audience targeting type, coupons actually now has the ability to add specific coupons for specific audience groups, which if that's something you're doing, I absolutely would encourage it, right? It's an easy way to essentially assign an extra layer of discount to a specific audience type. Now, the aspect of doing things such as like lightning deals, right? Lightning deals won't. But what having a lightning deal will do, especially for if we're looking back again at some of those audience groups, if I can pull this back up,
Mhm.
that we were talking about, the idea of like a high interest based on shopping history, right? Or
Hmm.
somebody who clicked or add brand product to their cart. Those are two audiences that are likely going to be very price conscious at the end of the day, and they're looking for those deals. And that's how it kind of relates. At the end of the day, you can't just look at it as solely a I am doing X for this person. It's a I'm trying to get with advertising in front of the eyeballs of this person, right? If I am the customer, I want to go and I want to say, oh, that's on sale now that I was looking at a month ago, and now it's something I want to buy, and so and so would love this gift, so to speak, right? I can get it on sale. That's kind of how they interact. Like I said, you can go a layer deeper with that with the audience targeting via coupons, but you do not have to.
Are the new sponsored video ads a good idea for Q4? I saw the new options for video ads for Twitch, Prime Videos, etc.
Um, yes and no. I'm very hesitant to test something like that during Q4 just because the aspect of you're already going to be kind of obviously stretched thin on budget. Now, that being said, doing video advertisements in general during Q4 is something I do recommend. But video advertisements as a whole is something that you kind of have to A/B test quite often and kind of fine tune. Now, if you're doing a specific video advertisement, you have a product that's very seasonal. Let's say it's a holiday type product. I don't know. You sell stockings, I guess, right?
Hmm.
Or you sell Christmas trees. Who knows, right? You sell dreidels, right? Those are all type things that you could absolutely create a video that is very holiday and seasonal esque. And if you're doing that, that's something I always am going to encourage. But it is one of those things that video advertisement in general just takes time to see what works and what doesn't as far as testing. So it can be kind of difficult during Q4. But again, it's a great data. Haley asks, are the holiday and Halloween shops only available to FBA? Can FBM sellers be featured in those spaces? If so, how? No, Haley. Typically, they can't be featured in those sections, and the primary reason is that those are usually going to be tied to specific holiday deals, such as like the Prime discounts for certain selling holidays, um, or category specific. So for like Halloween, you may be able to on the Halloween shop. I guess I could look. I haven't seen much from like an FBM standard on the Halloween shop, so not saying you can't. Just saying that it's probably unlikely you're going to see much traction without it. But F or the Halloween one, yes. Unsure on the holiday one. I think the holiday one might be specifically for that. Is it too late to kick off advertising on Amazon for Q4? I think Anthony asked this earlier. No, absolutely not. It's actually right on time, to be honest. I would kick off advertising right now. It's kind of the time of the year to be doing that, right? So you should be prepping right now. I mean, honestly, I just brought in a new client yesterday who they're bringing us on specifically for all of Q4 to manage their advertising. They come back every year in Q4, and that's kind of their thing. I have another client call on Monday where that's exactly the same thing. Recurring client every year. They're like, hey, do our stuff for Q4 and call it good. So, no, Anthony, it's not too late for advertising. Is it too late to kick off advertising on Amazon for Q4? I think Anthony asked this earlier. No, absolutely not. It's actually right on time, to be honest. I would kick off advertising right now. It's kind of the time of the year to be doing that, right? So you should be prepping right now. I mean, honestly, I just brought in a new client yesterday who they're bringing us on specifically for all of Q4 to manage their advertising. They come back every year in Q4, and that's kind of their thing. I have another client call on Monday where that's exactly the same thing. Recurring client every year. They're like, hey, do our stuff for Q4 and call it good. So, no, Anthony, it's not too late for advertising. How do brand tailored promotions affect lowest price in the last 30 days? For example, if an item has a 10% prime discount and a brand tailored promotion of, say, 5%, and someone buys the item, I assume they compound. Does this bring the lowest price sold between below the 10% prime discount displayed to everyone? Also, how do coupons affect lowest price last 30 days? Yep. So brand tailored promotions do not affect the lowest price. The way that brand tailored promotions are classified is they are classified as preferential discounts. So essentially, preferential discounts do not stack on top of them, and they also do not affect the actual pricing because they are towards specific audience groups. So, for instance, coupons, they technically can because only audience coupons are preferential coupons, but they don't stack on top of anything else. They will stack, however, with other types of promotions, right? So if you have a promotion for a 10% off coupon, and then you have a brand tailored promotion of, let's say, 10% of some kind, And then you go ahead and you say, oh, here I have both these promotions, but somebody from your brand tailored promotions audience group that you're targeting, they can see that brand tailored promotion, plus they can see the additional discount that you've applied. So that should answer the question there, Jan.
I started April leg asking the question, would AWD be beneficial in using during Q4? We have our own warehouse and our own store ourselves, but our inventory capacity is maxed out.
Oh, you're missing a lot. Hold on, let me answer a couple of these.
Sure.
To confirm, out of all of the upcoming events, you recommend Prime Big Deal Days. Thanks. No, I recommend all of them. I'm just saying
Yeah.
the Prime Big Deal Days is a very important one that you should not just skip. Brand new to Prime Big Deal Days and the Prime exclusive discounts, what is the best resource to learn about how to execute these? The My Amazon Guy YouTube channel, actually.
Hmm.
So go over there, check that out, Whitney, and it should hopefully be a huge resource to you. And on top of that, we also, I guess I'll give a little sneak peek here, Whitney, have a fun little thing coming out here in the next week or so that if you stay tuned to the My Amazon Guy email newsletter and on our different socials, our LinkedIn and everything, we'll be coming out with our Q4 selling guide, which here's a little sneak peek of that essentially
Mm.
goes through all of Q4 and exactly what you're kind of asking there, Whitney. So for anyone here, you guys are getting the first sneak peek at all of this. This is a huge guide. I have had a huge influence on a lot of what has gone into this guide. I'm pretty sure Kevin has also QA'd a
Hmm.
bunch of stuff. This is not just for Amazon. This is going to be for Amazon direct to consumer brands in general. And so, I mean, you can see all of the different sections in here. It's 28 pages of just content right now
Oh, wow.
within this. So it's a huge, huge, huge resource. Tons of different links. We're pulling a ton of different stuff out. So this will be coming out here shortly. So anyone who wants it, stay tuned. We'll have that, I believe, by next week for you guys. So stay tuned for
All
that.
right. Yes. Stay tuned. More to come on that. Awesome. So this was the one about AWD. Should they do AWD in Q4? They also have their own warehouse and store themselves, but inventory capacity is maxed out. Sounds like in their warehouse.
Yeah, so I would recommend it. So a lot of people, I actually have gotten a few questions in people just reaching out to me asking essentially if AWD drip fulfillment can be trusted during Q4. And my answer is that yes, sort of. It depends on your sales volume and velocity, right? So Amazon's always going to be slower from every logistics capability in Q4. From what I saw last year from clients that ended up utilizing AWD last year, is that it was really good if you were on top of sending the inventory. What it's not great at during Q4 time is basically being proactive about sending inventory from AWD to FBA. I would, if I were you, send into AWD, but then also be very on top of essentially sending in and creating those AWD shipments into FBA. And if you're doing that, then you can trust it pretty well, but I would not just trust it to drip on its own. Otherwise, you might have some instances of slight stockouts, so to speak.
The question came in, which is a follow-up. I'm skipping ahead. Can you AWD if you manufacture in the US?
Yeah, I don't see
Okay.
why you can't.
They're agnostic to where you manufacture.
Yeah,
Um,
AWD has nothing to do with manufacturing. It's just storing product.
and you can save some money on shipping costs, which used to be just for November and December, or sorry, not shipping costs, but storage costs. It used to be, it was the same all year long. And then they made it November, December. And then they said, let's do all of Q4, which is so annoying because it's like really October, you know? But
Quick thing for you as well, April, from Accelerate last week, something that they just rolled out. If you send full palletized items to AWD, you get 25% discount on storage through AWD and through the actual fulfillment into Amazon. So essentially, if you're sending product into AWD, I know your warehouse isn't maxed, but your FBA is, you can get essentially, it might be cheaper, honestly, than storing it in your warehouse to send full on pallets and then just direct them to have those pallets sent to FBA as needed.
all right. So then Aaron asks, I ran a sale that ended in August. My 90-day price is affecting my ability to run coupons without a dramatic discount. Is there any way to fix this?
Unfortunately, not. The only real thing, Aaron, is basically to just continue selling. So coupons are based off of your average selling price, or no, it was your was selling price. And so you can't, unfortunately, do anything greater than that in that average time period. So you realistically, yes, just have to raise that costing essentially of what is people are buying your product for, so you can do those coupons, because coupons won't work otherwise, unfortunately. Like they literally just won't let you do it unless you're, I believe it's 15% below that average is.
Now, it's only because at first I thought this was the same person who said they weren't running ads because it's an
Oh,
A,
it's like, yeah,
it's
it's like
a
purple
purple
and
icon on in our Zoom chat. I don't know if it is for everyone else, at least for me. But if you're not running ads, this would be another reason either to run ads or run ads more aggressively to get more sales history at the higher price. And I've run into the same issue before, and it's so annoying. I understand Amazon's trying to not get in trouble with the FTC on like pricing, but I don't even understand the logic on it. I don't think anyone understands
no.
it. Any tips on improving listings? I guess this is not a seasonal question. This
Go
is a
subscribe
year-round
to the My
question.
Amazon Guy YouTube channel.
There you go.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, basic tips always. Main image hack is going to be your biggest thing. So always, always, always try and do a main image hack. Main image hack is going to be your best friend during the season. People are very, very, very quick of looking at things. They're going to be scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Oh, that's cool. Click that.
Yep.
Main image hack is going to be number one thing. Focus very, very heavily on your ad strategy. Well, I guess that's not a listing tip. Focus very heavily on
Crawlable
your
text in
crawlable
your A plus
text.
content.
Yeah, in your A plus content. I mean, all of the basics. Go follow my Amazon Guy on YouTube. Go watch all of our listing optimization videos.
Does your business pricing affect lowest price in 30 days for everyone? Curious what can affect lowest price. Prime pricing affects lowest
Business
price for.
price does not affect that. No. So
Okay.
business pricing is only for business customers and does not affect your average selling price.
Do you guys have any kind of spreadsheet or system to calculate whether is it profitable to do Amazon minimal shipments versus multiple versus AWD?
I don't think we like have a calculator that's like public or anything. I know that essentially we just do those calculations because the issue with that is going to be essentially that's going to be different for every single product, every single client based on your inventory capacity, based on your sales volume, and also based on your product sizing. That's the bigger aspect. So what is your case pack, for instance? Like that's something as granular as case pack goes into that aspect of calculating that. So it's very, very difficult to make a calculator like that without it just basically just pulling information direct from like Amazon, right? So it's not, I don't know of anyone who actually has one that like is fully 100% accurate just from that aspect without just creating each one of those individually. So like that's what we do a lot of times for our clients is basically look and see which one of these is going to cost more. So things like AWD, right? And like multiple shipments, we can obviously get like pricing based off of like AWD pricing on that and do a calculation. But things like minimal shipments versus multiple shipments and like large shipments, all of that is going to be coming down to like a product by product basis, unfortunately.
And where are you located? And where do
Where's
they
your product
descend
coming
to
from?
send it? Yeah. So like for me, there's times I have everything ready to go and I'm gonna do the multiple shipments. I get all excited about it. And I'm in Southeast Florida. Sometimes my shipments go to Port St. Lucie, 20 minutes away. Sometimes it goes to Hialeah, which is near Miami. Sometimes it goes to Jacksonville. All stuff that's relatively close and inexpensive. Sometimes I just split up shipments, and of the five, two go to California, one goes to Nevada, and another one goes to like Nebraska. So like, and then one New Jersey. And so like nothing is necessarily close to me. Only one's even on the East Coast. And so like I save money on the inbound placement fees, but I pay so much more money in the shipping fees. So it's almost impossible to calculate, and it's whatever the algorithm gods decide. April says, "What is the main image hack?" Go to myamazonguy.com/img and myamazonguy.com/CTR as in click-through rate. Those are two great resources for our main image hack, which is basically ways to improve your main image. So With that, thank you everybody for joining us.
See you,
All right.
everybody.
See you everybody. All right, bye.